So in this section now, all right, everybody. So I'm going to move back into layout. So in layout, we can see our pig as it is. This is where we want to make sure we have a few settings turned on in Blender because we're about to give it an armature. All right, it's armature, which then eventually generates the rig. So if I go up to Edit, Preferences, in the Add-ons tab, up here in the search, start typing the word rig. All right, we want to turn on Rigify by just checking this box. All right.
What if you can't check that box? Rig?
You can't check the box. Oh, interesting.
Oh no, there it is.
It's just lags. Okay. Yeah. So once you check it, it turns on the Rigify function. Super important. Super great. You can just close it if you want to save because you're paranoid. 3 little things down there and say Save Preferences. All right. If anyone wants to know what that's actually called, it's called the hamburger menu because it looks like a hamburger. There you go. Fun facts. Coming out. So Rigify. Hamburger menu. Looks like a hamburger.
How did you get to layout?
To layout, I just clicked on layout.
Layout.
So up here, click on layout, entering the layout. So in Rigify, I'm going to go into my X view or my side view, if that helps. Shift A, we're going to add an armature. Now I'm going to run through a few of these armatures so you have an idea. There is advanced armatures for animals and not so advanced armatures. So right now, you got a human meta rig. That's an advanced rigging system for a human, obviously. Animals, you have advanced animal rigs. Birds, cats, horse, shark, wolf. There isn't a pig. Why not? Pardon?
To be a cat.
Exactly. You find the animal closest to what you want. But remember, we're not doing anything hyper realistic, right? So over here in the basic one, it's still a meta rig. There's a basic human rig and a basic animal rig, or what they call basic quadruped. A pig is a quadruped. Awesome. What's the basic about it? It just doesn't have face bones. We don't need face bones because we're going to use shape keys anyway for face structures. Now, when to use what determines on how you're going to build an environment. Let's say, for example, we want to do a big crowd simulation. You have lots of huge amounts of people running around. Last thing you want to do is use a meta rig to make thousands of characters. Use a basic rig, make one character, then use a particle simulation to generate the rest of it. Okay? Basic rigs are great for what we're doing. We're making a very stylized pig. We don't need anything fancy. So just use a basic quadruped meta rig. Now you'll notice it just puts it somewhere in the environment. This is where things get a bit complicated. When I say complicated, steps are critical. Because what happens now is we are about to do the most hard thing for the computer to work out, is how this bone is going to move this mesh.
Sorry, which one did you select?
Shift A, armature, basic quadruped. I'll leave it on
Right-click on it? Did you right-click on the...
Shift A. We're adding. Remember, every time you add something, it's Shift A. This is where we're going to start fixing things. So, as you may notice, look very carefully. I'm going to hide my pig for a second.
What's that thing?
Do you see how my actual animal's facing that way? Not quite right when my pig is facing this way. I'm going to turn everything back on. What I might actually do is I don't need this thing anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of him. So I just want a clean environment now. Because as we're going to work through this, we're going to make sure everything is right, and this is critical. First thing I'm going to do is make sure my bone is selected. I've got it selected. If you can't select in the world, just select in the tree. And I'm going to go down to my, rotation. Actually, no. We'll go down here first. What looks like a little running man, it's the object property data for your meta rig. Right there where it says viewport display. I'm going to click on that. First thing you want to do is click in front. What this does it puts your meta rig in front of your object. Visually, it can get pretty confusing because you're not sure if it's really center or not. You need to rotate constantly. But still, it's not facing the right way. I'm going to go up into my Z axis. So it faces upwards. R on the keyboard. And how many degrees do you reckon I'm going to rotate?
Anyway, if you go R, Z, and 180, you can
Yeah.
pick an axis to rotate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what, you click on what? On the skeleton thing?
Yep. On the armature, the meta rig.
Armature?
In the Z view, rotate it so it faces forward. All right. You'll see in my transformation component it says negative 180. Doesn't matter as long as it's facing the right way. Your pig is facing the right direction. What I'm going to do now is click on my pig. I'm going to hit G and free move it roughly to where the actual legs are. Now you'll notice that I'm going to make sure that my legs are sitting above that line. I have two options here. I can scale my rig up or I can scale my pig down. It's really up to you what you want to choose. So if you want to scale your pig down, you select your pig, hit S and then scale it, right? If you want to scale your armature, select your armature, hit S and then scale it. I recommend scaling the armature because you see how it's a nice clean scale. You can scale it roughly, and I mean roughly the size of your object. Once we got that, it's still not in. And what's really important now is changing this. You see, right now my pig isn't quite where it was to begin with. And my armature wasn't quite the size that it started with. We must zero everything out. Remember what I say about zero? Zero is important. So to zero this, Shift A, my bad. On a computer, on a PC, sorry, it is Control A. You should be able to see that word apply. And we want to apply all transformations. And what happens is now it zeroes out the armature and says this is its original size. Does that make sense?
What was it on the Mac? You said Shift A.
On a Mac, it's Command A. So same thing as your pig. You must select the pig, Command A or Control A, all transformations.
Can you do that from location too?
Yes. No, not for this one, no. Because what we're doing is we're changing the value. So So this is the important one. We mustn't use a transformation location because I need to reset. We're resetting everything and saying this is now 0.0. Yes. That's all right. That's all right. I'm going to pause the recording because